So what does it mean to be an American in the year 2025? It means we still believe in those ideals of 1776. It means we believe in merit, that the best person gets the job regardless of their genetics, that you are judged not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions. It means we believe in the rule of law. And I say this as the proud son of legal immigrants to the United States. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. It means we believe in free speech and open debate without censorship. Whether you're Nick Fuentes or Alex Jones or Jimmy Kimmel, it means that words are not violence, that violence is violence, and violence is never an acceptable response to words. It's not just about our constitutional principles. Thank you. That's America. That's who we are. It's about our Constitution, but it's about even more than that. It's about a culture that is distinctive to our nation. It means we believe in accountability.
What's going on, gang? Red Channels here. So recently there was a TPUSA event in Montana at which Vivek Ramaswamy was a key speaker. And here he touched on Americanism, what it means to be an American. And I thought that this was a very relevant conversation. But before we dive in, please give this video a like, share it, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment, and we will examine what Vivek has to say. So while I think Vivek's commitment to free speech and tolerating dissenting or controversial viewpoints is admirable, his understanding of American culture is ultimately flawed. It's very much this 80s classical liberal view of American culture, which has a lot in common with how liberals view America now. You know, it always boggles my mind when liberals act like literally anyone is or can be American, and that this is inherent and obvious in the Constitution itself. America always has been, up until recently, an implicitly Anglo-Protestant country. Just because the founders never explicitly codified this in the Constitution doesn't mean this wasn't the case. For long periods of early American history, natives weren't considered citizens, and neither was the majority of Black Americans living in the U.S. Now, we can't really determine what an American is in today's era because the principles of the Constitution have been reinterpreted and distorted to accommodate potentially literally anyone on the entire planet. So anyone from anywhere can just apply for citizenship, and if they get accepted, they are suddenly as American, so-called, as people who have existed on this continent under the jurisdiction of the state, of the American state, for 200 years. An empire, a multi-ethnic empire, which America is, needs an adhesive philosophy to get everyone on the same page. In every empire, there is a core population which collectively has greater social standing than the other groups, that has cultural hegemony, and whose values and ethos is dominant over all others, who sort of sets the standard for everyone else to follow. At the beginning of America, there was a formulation of classical liberalism, which is itself an Anglo-Protestant intellectual product, as the state philosophy, and the overwhelming majority of the people of this country were various types of English Protestant. This ethos proved robust enough to accommodate successive waves of immigration from other parts of Europe because these immigrants were relatively, by and large, culturally similar enough to the American founding stock that it wasn't an issue.
It means that we are courageous, that we're brave, even heroic, when called upon to serve our country, that we take bold risks. Sometimes we fail, but we still pick ourselves up and do it again. It means we don't view that hardship as the same thing as victimhood, Because hardship from time to time is what teaches us who we really are. It means that we're ambitious to achieve the things that we were taught to believe were impossible, from landing on the moon to landing on Mars. It means that just like our founding fathers, we are deeply curious about the world that we inhabit, and that it is our manifest destiny to lead it, not for our own sake, but for the sake of history and posterity. It means that we believe the legacy of our founding fathers is immortal. It means that we believe the soul of the United States of America is immortal. It means we believe that America's purpose in the world is immortal, and that we have a moral mandate to preserve it. That is who we are as Americans. That was the spirit that Charlie Kirk tried to revive on college campuses, like the one where we convene tonight. That's what he fought for.
But to complicate things, there are now large numbers of people with, historically speaking, incredibly alien cultures and religions who have moved into the US. These ideals that Vivek is appealing to in order to texture the general profile or character of an American citizen, like belief in meritocracy, colorblindness, and judgment on content of character, free speech and open debate without censorship, rule of law, a can do attitude rather than victimhood, ambition, and America's role as a leader among nations, etc., are not only mostly empty generalities, but invoke a conception of Americanness that feels like it was developed from 1950 through 1980. Progressivism, which is the left wing candidate for the American state philosophy, directly rejects or critiques the way most of these qualities have been applied from within that frame of time, because, especially during the 80s and onward, they were the values of this patriotic, pro immigrant, free market capitalist, white evangelical core population. Now, in these latter years, America is way more diverse. Progressivism and leftism generally is incredibly hostile, and much of the right has become disenchanted with free markets and immigration. So Vivek can kind of bandwagon on the right based on these values of meritocracy. And he has a place because he can say he's a legal immigrant, but there is an implicitly nativist impulse in MAGA. Part of MAGA's character is rural populism and Christian nationalism, however you might want to define that. And this is a natural response to liberals having wrested the meaning of what it means to be an American from the boomer evangelicals. And these subsequent immigrant groups having generally aligned themselves with the left rather than assimilating into something more compatible with the continuity of America's ethos. So you have these boomer evangelicals who are, while imperfect, still the natural heirs of this original American Anglo Protestant ethos, which held the country together. One of the main reasons in my mind that we can't just wind back the clock to boomer conservatism like Vivek wants is because, one, the left has basically kind of deconstructed it. Socially and intellectually, it doesn't have the cultural power that it used to, and that will make it practically very challenging, if not impossible, to revive. And two, continued immigration is now a destabilizing force, and the left is incredibly hostile to rural white people. They've identified basically all of the values of the previous era of boomer evangelical cultural hegemony and demonized them. This very direct, caustic attack by the left, socially and demographically, is going to force a reckoning with the reality of who America's founding ethnos was. What the outcome of this reckoning looks like, I don't know, but I don't see this nativism going anywhere, and it's only going to intensify if the pressures imposed on the right by liberal America aren't addressed. The original Anglo Protestant ethos is gone, and fully pivoting back to a highly exclusivist conception of Americanness, like at this country's founding, is also unrealistic, and it's increasingly challenging to create a coherent national consciousness as America diversifies. Either way, what Vivek is proposing here ultimately isn't appealing to the GOP's base anymore and is completely unequipped to resolve the problems that the country is presently confronted by.
I have a personal question.
That's allowed.
So based on what the press says about your beliefs, you call yourself a Hindu, but you also call yourself Christian.
I don't call myself Christian. I call myself a Hindu.
Okay. So based on what the Turning Point's values are, which is Christianity, I'm a little confused on why you believe in I don't know. Wouldn't it be logical to conclude that a monotheistic organization would be more, I don't know, I guess I just don't understand why a polytheistic ideology would support some sort of, monotheistic perspective which Christianity is. So I guess I'm wondering why you have Christian values in that way.
Sure. Happy to address that. What's your name, sir?
Liam Birmingham.
Liam. So tell me about what you know about Hinduism.
Hinduism is a polytheistic religion that.
So with due respect, I'll just cut in right there because there's one thing I have a little bit of authority on. I'm actually a monotheist. I believe there's one true God. It's from the Vedanta tradition of Advaita philosophy, not stuff that we need to spend a ton of time here on. But since you asked about it, I wanted to address it. I believe there's one true God. Now let me just ask you, because I know that may be a hard thing to process. What's your faith?
I'm a Christian. I'm a follower of Jesus.
Great. Do you believe in the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit?
I think a lot of people here do. So
good. And that doesn't make you a polytheist, does it?
Probably not. No.
Great. Because I think this is it's a great spiritual question. There's good dialogue here. Is every religion has its reconciling of the one and the many. And so in my faith, I believe there's one true God. He resides in all of us, and he appears in different forms, but it's one true God. So I'm an ethical monotheist. That's the way I would describe my faith. Now, I will tell you, I'm not running to be pastor of Ohio. I'm running to be governor of Ohio, and I didn't run to be pastor of America. I ran to be president of the United States of America. Can I ask you a question in response? Because I love dialogue like this.
Sure, yeah.
Do you think it's inappropriate for someone who's a Hindu to be, say, a U.S. president?
No, I think it's... No, well...
You be honest.
Isn't Hinduism... Well, I mean, I can ask yourself that Hinduism believes in Shiva and, what is it? The flute god, I forget.
Right, Krishna, who's you're thinking of.
Yeah, Krishna.
So the one thing for you to take away from, about my faith is I'm an ethical monotheist. I believe in one true God, the Advaita philosophy of Vedanta. And I think that as you think about the Holy Trinity and what that means for, you're not a polytheist either. That's a similar philosophy, and I'd love to kind of continue that over a religious dinner conversation sometime. But
you also call yourself a Hindu as well.
I am a Hindu. I am a Hindu. So I'd like to. So we're here mostly. I love having spiritual discussions. We can continue this another time. What I'd like to focus on today, though, is actually where that leaves us with the values of our own country, the shared values of this country, and actually, to that effect, what's your name?
Liam Birmingham.
Liam, I have something I'd like to give you. Would you like to just come on stage and join me for a moment? It's something that's really important to me. It's next to my faith and to my family. This is the next most important thing to me in life. I usually keep it with me, and for tonight, I think it'll actually be really useful for having you come up here, and I'd love to give it to you. You want to join us for a second? Give Liam a round of applause, folks, for being brave and asking a tough question. Thank you. Thank you, Liam. So what I'm about to give you is something that's actually near and dear to my heart. And when I think about our journey of leadership in this country, what matters more than the differences in our faith is our shared value set. And next to my faith and my family, this is the next most important thing to me, This is the Constitution of the United States of America. I'm going to give you my copy from today, and there's 7 articles in it. I'll ask you to just open it up real quick to Article 6, if you will, for a second. And I think it's actually, we talk about the Constitution a lot in our country, and I love that. One of the things I love about it is it actually makes sense to read the Constitution from time to time. It's a good thing to actually read. So we'll go to Article 6. There's 7 articles in it. And why don't you just read the part 3 to the audience? We'll make this our constitutional reading for the day.
The senators and representatives before mentioned and the members of the several states legislators and all executives and judicial officers both in the United States and several states shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as qualification to any office or public trust under the United States.
Nayland Haley, son of Nikki Haley, clapped back to this and said, "Just when you thought it couldn't get worse. Comparing the Holy Trinity to your 33 million gods is blasphemous, disrespectful, and a slap in the face to every Christian. If you're going to run for governor in a state that is Christian, have the decency to learn our faith and not slander it." Now, this was a fun tweet because I both agreed and disagreed. I actually thought the comparison Vivek made was apt because I am an evil semi-Aryan heretic. But I also totally agree with Nayland in that, no, you should not want someone who is a Hindu to be ruling over your country as a Christian, as someone who believes that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. If my hand were forced, I would choose someone like Vivek over, say, Elizabeth Warren. But this is still not an ideal situation. And just someone being, oh, trust me, I'm an ethical monotheist, bro. Like, that's not enough. I'm sorry. Especially if you're part of a religious tradition which is actually highly related to your position on immigration at the moment. And you know that Nayland's statement touched a nerve because it pissed off all the right people. Like Richard Hananiah came out to defend his elite human capital. And then there were also a bunch of Hindu accounts I saw that were reacting negatively to it. And that's the worst thing. They were like doing their own like insulting stereotypical voice to criticize Nayland. I'm like, that's not a win. This is just, oh gosh. They were coming after him and they're like making fun of him, but he's like, he's also one of you. So why are you using this voice? But they were just mad because America does have values. It's a Christian nation. And right-wing people will obviously recognize that the sort of populist movement is ultimately incompatible with Hinduism. Not necessarily on the individual interpersonal level, but certainly on issues of leadership or like moral guidance, whatever. But this Indian guy criticizing Nayland was posting a screenshot of an exchange that Nayland was having with a white liberal who appeared in his comments. And this guy, Nick, said, "You're literally a Sikh Indian, bro. You'll never be one of us. Let it go. Let it go. Who cares? LARPing weirdo." Nayland Haley said, "I'm Catholic and mixed white/Indian. I like me. Don't want to be anything else." And then Nick replies, "Tap dancing for people who think you and your mom are a cancer. Grow some balls and defend your own bloodline, man. If you couldn't even stand for that, what do you stand for?" And this is funny because it's like a white liberal telling a non-white person what to do and what to think, which they can never not do. Like white liberals cannot stop themselves. Even if he thinks this is for the sake of progress or whatever, he still has the urge to direct non-whites who disagree with him, as though he knows better about Nayland's experience as an American citizen on the right from his background than Nayland himself does. This is also such a stupid post because it ignores the fact that like tons of people voted for Nikki Haley. And if the right generally, like nationally, were to reject Nayland Haley, it would be because he enters politics he's running for things, and then he ends up having a political outlook that's just like his mother, who's a neocon. Like, most people don't even know or care that Nikki Haley was originally Sikh. Like, she converted to Catholicism, so Nayland isn't even a Sikh anymore. Also, this whole view you as a cancer thing is so hyperbolic. Like, obviously, issues of American identity and immigration are hot button right now. But then there are still like millions of people in this country who voted for Obama and Trump. It's like, how do you reconcile that? And here you see two tweets from Richard Hananiah trying to portray Nayland Haley as unstable and confused. And I mean, the first thing that's just obviously ridiculous about what Richard is saying is that this isn't a rabbit hole that Nayland has fallen down. He's not saying anything radical here. This is a pretty typical standard defense of traditional Christian theology here. So this guy lies through his teeth with like every tweet he makes. It's really amazing. Nayland is very upfront about the fact that he is a person with mixed heritage. He's not hiding or tap dancing for anyone. So my conclusion from all of this is that subversive people will always find themselves in alignment. And the question of who or what is an American will be decided by power, but then we have not gone, there's currently a power vacuum. There's clearly currently a struggle. And this question hasn't really been resolved yet. So we're all going to have to stay tuned and see where the future takes us. Anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And Red Channels will catch you in the next one.